Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Tide Watch, a podcast where we talk about the Halifax Tides from the NSL. Much like the NSL season this year, this is going to be the inaugural episode of the season. I know I'm starting in the off season, which might sound strange, but I wanted to see how the season went, and now I have a chance to kind of speak on things. Just a quick thing about me. I grew up in southwestern Ontario, played high school soccer, very fortunate to get a soccer scholarship in the US, played Division II soccer, and then got even more fortunate to play professional soccer in Japan. So yeah, I have a little bit of background, but I'm really interested in this team, and I guess the reason why I picked the Tides were I just liked how they played. I know they had a unfortunate end to the season, being last place in a 6-team league, but there's something to be said about the way they worked hard and the players they had. For this episode, we'll go through the roster that was there last year. We'll talk about each player. We'll talk about who's been announced as coming back, and we'll talk about who potentially could still be coming back, and just kind of break down the season and kind of the hopefuls and kind of the whole picture, I guess. But yeah, let's do it. So I'm in just kind of random order here. I'm on the roster page on the tidesfc.ca, so that's where I'm going to get all the information from. So if there's any references or any questions about where I'm gathering information, that's where it's from. So that's the source material. So the first name on the list is Megumi Nakamura. I'm very excited that they re-signed her. I think her and Annika Toth, hands down, were the best players last year for the Tides. I think her re-signing is massive. The fact that she's going to come back, I know, is a club option, but I think this does wonders for her. I think when Megumi was first signed, there was a little bit of hesitation because nobody knew much about her. You look at her career in Japan with the Nadeshiko League, and the WE League, which succeeded that, the Women Empowerment League in Japan. You look at her statistics. In the 4 seasons she was there with the WE League, she only had 14 appearances and 1 goal. So I think for her, coming to the NSL was kind of a change of scenery. She wasn't getting much playing time. She thought she'd have an opportunity. It was kind of the last kick of the can for her. And I'm glad she came over, because I think for the Tides, you kind of got a gem in someone who can create goals, who can score goals. She played striker at some points in the season, which I don't think is her best position, but she's good enough that she could do it. She played holding midfielder for a while, to kind of stabilize the defense, kind of stop the goals from happening, and she played attacking midfielder, which I think is her best position. Her skill is those late runs. If you look at, she scored 5 goals this year. If you look at 3 of them, they were from deep, where she came in late and either got the rebound or beat her defender and scored a great goal. So I think her coming back and being able to add some quality around her, we'll see her stats just increase, because she has the players to pass it to and they can finish, or players that can pass it to her and she can finish. So I think this is a win-win for her, because if she is looking to, either go back to Japan or look at going to Europe, I think she needs another great season like she had last year. And I think the Tides definitely need this talent. Just being said that, just to kind of backtrack, the NSL, I think, in the inaugural season is not, I don't want to use the word stepping stone league, because that's harsh, but I think the correct term would be a showcase league. The idea is to showcase your talent, hopefully get a look at the national team, the Canadian national team, And of course, Megumi Nakamura is Japanese. So hopefully get a look at either the Japanese national team or perchance, again, Europe or maybe back to the WE League. But getting more playing time because she's proven that she can play at a higher level. I think I could go the whole podcast just talking about Nakamura. She has to be one of my favorite players in the whole NSL. And that being said, I think she could start on any team, and that's including AFC Toronto and Vancouver, which are obviously the two teams in the finals. So that says a lot about her quality, and I think again, very fortunate to sign her, and looking forward to see what she can do in 2026. Next on the list is Saoirla Miller. I'm glad they are bringing her back. I think she has a lot of talent. I think you could see as the season went along, she just got better and better. I'm really interested in seeing what she can bring next year. She was getting a little bit more confident taking on her defenders, scoring some goals. She ended up second on the team to Megumi in goals, which is saying a lot with 4. So I know she wants to add to that tally, and I'm fortunate that they brought her back. Next on my list is Amanda Allen, someone who they're not bringing back. And, to be honest, I think a lot of people are expecting a little bit more from Amanda. I think she'd be the first one to say that, had a little bit of a disappointing season. I know a lot of her appearances were kind of off the bench, but at the same time, when you come on, you want to see an impact, and unfortunately there wasn't an impact there. So I'm, not surprised they're bringing her back, but, good luck to her in her future. Next up is Daphne Bluen. I liked how she played. She's feisty, she'll get into tackles and work her socks off for you. And I think you need some of that on the team, right? You need kind of someone who is always going to run after lost causes and continue to work hard. But again, I think if you're going to do that, you still need to produce. She only had 1 goal on the season. That's why I think they decided to kind of part ways and look for something else. I know she'll continue to do well because she has the tenacity to continue on, but good luck with her future. Next on the list is Tiffany Cameron. I'm glad they brought her back. I'm interested in seeing what her potential is. You could see that she, on the ball, could make things happen, and off the ball was a good runner and could take on her defender. The question I have is just, what is her best position? She is very versatile, which is a good thing to have. You want to be able to play more than one position. But I'm just afraid she might get caught into the jack of all trades, master of none kind of idea. As an out-and-out striker, I think might be her best position. However, this season, because just with the lack of quality, unfortunately, she wasn't able to show what she could do. She was kind of feeding off scraps, and if they do want to utilize her to her max ability, I think she has to play up front. I think you have to utilize her skill and her speed and put the ball on her feet or in the space and let her run into the channels and try to find her teammates after that. I just didn't see enough of that this year, and I think unfortunately we didn't see the best of her, but I think there's another level there, and I think that's why they brought her back, is they know there's something there, something special, and if they can bring in the right players around her, they can unlock that. So I'm truly excited to see what she can do next year. She was only able to get the 1 goal this year, so I truly think she'll be able to increase that tally. But we'll see what the max potential on that looks like. Next on the list is Millie Clegg. I feel like with Millie Clegg, they brought her in this season thinking she would be an all-star, right? I think you look at the beginning of the season where she was struggling a little bit and, losing her confidence, but she was still playing and playing almost 90 minutes. So to me, it was kind of like, okay, she's very young. You can see that she has potential, but her confidence was shot. So I question, and maybe this is one of the reasons why they made the coaching change was, I think at that point in time, you say to Millie, let's come off the bench. Let's take you out of the line of fire. You're just kind of not having the confidence at the moment. Let's build it back up. Let's do some more training, figure out how we can get over this. Because with a young player, if they lose confidence early, it's tricky. If you're a savvy veteran, experienced, you understand that with football, soccer, there's ebbs and flows. You're not always shooting out the lights, right? So I wish they would have took her out of the line of fire, because I think keeping her there, just match after match, miss after miss, unfortunately, just you could see her confidence go. I can think of a match off the top of my head here where she came off the bench and had a basically wide open net, and you could just see the confidence not there, and she missed the net totally. If it's on frame, it's a goal. And then I would say maybe a minute later, she has another chance where it's her one-on-one with the goalie, and the keeper dove early, kind of guessing, okay, maybe she'll shoot it here. And she had the wide open net. She could have put it anywhere, and it was just kind of a soft shot right to the goalie's hands. And you could just see at that moment, like, her head just go down, and it was just like, okay, yeah, we've lost her this season. And I truly think that long term, again, she's very, very young. She's going to be an extremely talented player. She's already playing for a national team. So I think there's potential there, but I just don't think it's with Halifax. And I think that's why they let her go, because I don't think for both sides it makes sense. Halifax gave her all the chances. And from Millie's perspective, I need to go somewhere else. Kind of that change of scenery idea where, hopefully it works out for her, because she's extremely talented. She just needs to put it all together and keep her head about her. But yeah, that's Millie Clegg there. Marika Quay is next. Someone who they decided to part ways with this season. Yeah, I didn't see enough of Marika in the middle there. There were just games where she would disappear, unfortunately. I think they were hoping to get a little bit more out of her. And the fact that she did play quite a few games and had the chances just said to me that, okay, we're going to try it. It didn't work out. And we'll try a new midfielder. Nothing against her, but yeah, I think this was the right decision for both parties. I think she wants more playing time, and I don't think she would get that with Halifax. Next up is Gunny Jonsdottir. And I apologize. I know I'm probably saying that totally awful. But yeah, no, I think Gunny had a few injuries this year, but she showed her quality more so in the veteran leadership capabilities. She was able to organize the team and get people in position. But I think at the end of the day, I just think they're going to move away from her. They're looking for someone with a little bit more mobility. She tried playing forward, and just if it wasn't a feat, it didn't work out. And in the midfield, you need to be able to get box to box, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to as much as she wanted to. But you could tell the passion was still there and the heart was still there. And I think looking forward, they're going to need to fill that veteran leadership somewhere else, because she brought it every day, every game. Next up is Sid Kennedy. For me, Sid Kennedy's one of the players who I'm really looking forward to most. Again, like Sorella Miller, she just kept improving match after match towards the end of the season, where she was, noticeably taking on players, whipping the ball in, putting people inside the washing machine, as they say, just on spin cycle. So I think with her, just the more minutes she gets, the more talent around her, the better she will be. I have questions about Sid Kennedy in the sense of, is she better on the left, where she loves to use that left foot, or should she be on the right, where she can kind of cut in a little bit more and have more strikes at goal? She has a great shot, so I think that's something that the manager there, Stephen Hart, will have to think about with Sid Kennedy. But I'm very excited that they brought her back, and love that she's a local. That's a huge factor too. Next up is Sofia Sedeno. I'm this is where I get confused with the Halifax Tides, and I think this is what set them back this year, is just player evaluation, current evaluation and potential evaluation, because the signing of Sofia Sedeno doesn't make sense to me. The reason being is, when she was signed, they were saying that, she can step into the midfield. She's really young, but really talented, and can, play every match. But when you saw it, it was like, okay, she looks really young and kind of indecisive, and is not sure. So to me, did they sign her thinking she would be able to dominate there? And if that's the case, then there's just a miscalculation on talent. And if they signed her for long term, it doesn't make sense either, because they were still last place. They were closer to fifth place, and it would have been a crazy run they would need to go on, but perhaps playoffs. So why would you sign someone that you would maybe need 2 to 3 years to develop? It just doesn't make sense, and I think that's where they struggled at the beginning of the year. I'll leave that to another conversation, but I just think the roster construction set them back this year, because in inaugural season, every team has the same opportunity. You're signing players, you're kind of creating the roster. You how you want to play is the system, the players that are going to fit that system, and I think that's where it struggled. And I go back to Nakamura. I don't think Nakamura was brought in to be like, hey, this is going to be our star player. I think that was a very fortunate kind of a last minute thing of, oh, well, here's someone who might be able to do something. And lo and behold, it's your best outfield player. And I think the outfield players they were guaranteeing and kind of putting their stamp on just weren't that. So, and that's not to be harsh on Sedeno. Like, I think she did her best, but I'm just not sure what the plan was there. And then now she's leaving, and she was only there for half the season. So, I wouldn't say that's so much on her. I would say that's more on the coaching staff and the recruitment system. Next up is Eva Fremont. I really like her game. It's getting stuck in. It's being that hard tackling right back. I do think she can add a little bit more to her game going forward, but the key is, she's defensively sound. The only question is she going to play a whole match on a yellow card in the first minute, or can she kind of control herself a little bit and only get stuck in when she needs to? But I think this is a type of player who I think the whole league would be interested in looking at, because she does her job really, really well. I know the last few matches she didn't play, but I think that was more so just seeing, okay, what players do we have for next year, and who we're going to bring back, and what we look at. And she was kind of already a lock to come back. So it was kind of, let's see who else. But yeah, no, I think this is a great signing, and I'm really excited to see what she can be next year with, again, more talent around her and less defensive responsibilities, which it will allow her to kind of be able to go end to end and see if she can go the full 90 and still be at a high level. Next on my list is Karima Lemire. Like I'm really excited with that signing as well. She showed that she could play in the back defensively, and she could also play defensive mid, and she could also play just central mid as well. She has a long free kick, meaning she has a really, heavy, hard shot. So I think signing her is important. But I would just kind of iterate that if you're bringing her, you do need more around her so she doesn't have to be a box to box player. I think her best position would be a holding midfielder where she can spray kind of long balls to the wingers like Sid Kennedy and Sorella Miller. And if Tiffany Cameron's playing on the wing, get her into the game a little bit more. So I'm glad with this signing. It just kind of states that, okay, we're kind of building that midfield for next year, and I think she's an important piece of it. Next up is Annika Leslie. I'm glad with this signing. I think she was one of the better defenders last season. If you're gonna improve on the defense, you got to keep your good defenders, and I think they did this with this signing. So hopefully they can get a more secure back line. I think that was one of the big issues with them last year, is that they would get themselves into defensive troubles, and then now you're down 1-0 early in a game, and you're already chasing a game with 80 minutes left to go. So it's always difficult playing from behind. So first and foremost, if they can stop the goals from going in, it'll build confidence and allow the strikers to and midfielders to naturally build and not feel like, okay, we have to rush because we're down 1-0 and we need to score quickly so we can tie this up. Next on the list is Erin McLeod. Much like Megumi Nakamura, you could do a whole podcast on what she's done and what she's done for the game, and all the young girls who decided to play because of her, whether it's a goalkeeper, forward, but she really has changed the game, and also with the community, LGBTQ plus community. She's a real impact player, and it's kind of heartbreaking that she was only able to play a few matches before she had to shut it down. But I think her leadership off the field still made an impact on the team. There were games where you could see that she was getting everyone up, and okay, yes, we're down, but we're not out. Keeping everyone's spirit high. After some tough losses, she was there. Talking to players. I think she had a huge impact on Annika Toth, and Annika's spoken on that. So yeah, it sucks that she's out, but she's not forgotten, and really looking forward to what her next step is. I saw her do some of the commentary for the finals. Maybe that's the next step, if she goes into the booth and gives her opinion on matches, which she was bang on a lot of the time. So I'm excited to see what the next step in her career is. Next up is Kylie Norcus, who they decided to part ways with. This one's a little surprising to me. I think Kylie was a hard worker, and she played well. I guess the idea is that if you're looking to improve your back line, someone has to be out of the mix, and unfortunately it's her, which for her it sucks, but I know she'll find either another team or maybe another league. But I enjoyed Kylie playing, but unfortunately someone has to leave when you play musical chairs. Next up is Christabel Oduro. This one's not too surprising, parting ways. She came on quite a few matches as a substitute striker, and just unfortunately didn't have the impact that was expected of her. So if you're coming on to score goals and you're not scoring goals, right? I don't believe she had any goals on the season, which is disappointing for the Tides and disappointing for her personally. But yeah, if you're a goal scorer that's not scoring, then unfortunately it's kind of the writing on the wall. Next up is Sarah Olai. I think this has to be the most surprising one. I believe Sarah Olai had the most minutes played for the Tides last year. So I'm wondering if this is a decision of her moving on to a different team, because I'm sure there's a lot of suitors for her ability and for her role that she plays. She was, I would say, the Tide's best defender last year, match after match, playing in the center back role, kind of cleaning up some mistakes and clearances. And so, yeah, I think this one is a miss by the Tides. And I truly think it was her decision. So it's going to be tricky and difficult to see if they can fill that center back role, because that's not an easy position to fill by any means. So let's see what they do here. But yeah, Sarah Ola is going to be a huge miss on the back end here. Next up is Anne Valereseto. Unfortunately, just again, didn't have the impact that was expected of her. Next up is Sarah Taylor. Sarah got a lot of minutes at the end of the season there. I think they were trying to decide if they're going to keep or let her move on. And it seems like they're still undecided. I don't believe she's been signed yet, but at the same time, she hasn't been released either. So perhaps they're working on a contract. But for me, Sarah Taylor, I'm just not sure about, even with the last kind of stint of games, to see what she is and what she isn't. I just don't know. Like, I think if you're looking to improve your team, especially if you're looking to compete with the likes of an AFC Toronto or Vancouver, Montreal, Ottawa, all the teams that made the playoffs there, I don't think Sarah Taylor's going to put you over the line. So I wouldn't be surprised if they move on and look at other options. But, maybe if it's later in the off season and they haven't been able to fill a midfield roster, perhaps she comes back and kind of proves herself personally, and proves herself to the Halifax fans. But yeah, I'm still on the fence with her, and I'm not sure which way they'll go here. Next is Annika Toth. I don't know how much more to say about her in terms of she came in to the season thinking she was going to be a backup to Erin McLeod. She was hoping to learn things from her, footwork, hands, rebound control, command of the box, things that Erin is very, very good at. And lo and behold, after a few games into the season, all of a sudden she's pushed into the limelight. And if you watch the first goal she conceded, it was kind of like, yikes, but I think she admitted that it was nerves. How do you prepare for that? There's, how do you prepare for the unexpected, right? So, but as you can see, the rest of the season she shook off the nerves and played fantastic. A lot of matches where she kept Halifax relevant, probably longer than they should have been, making some great saves, earning goalkeeper of the year honors, a well-deserved trophy for her, especially when it's kind of, you're thinking you're not going to play very much this season, and she really proved herself. So I'm glad that they re-signed her, and looking forward to see how much better she can be. Next up is Julienne Valorand. For me, she came in at halfway through the season, kind of during the transfer period, and she proved herself as the starting left back. I think this is one of the reasons why Kylie Norcus was let go, because they thought, okay, it's between Valorand or Norcus, and Valorand won the job, and she did well. I really do think she did well. Was she perfect? No. I think there's a lot of improvement in her, but I can see that game by game she was getting more confident, was winning those one-on-one battles that you have to win as as a fullback, right? You can't let the other winger, the other midfielder get around you, or the striker, right? You have to stand tall and play well, and she was during the stretch. She was getting better and better, and I really think she's going to help round out the back four if they decide to go with a back four again next year. The last one I have on my list is Addie Wakers. Yeah, I'm happy that they signed her back again. So it's kind of, looking at what you have here is you basically have three of the four. With Oli not coming back, you kind of have the three of the back four solidified. You kind of have the skeleton there. So to see these players come back and improve and say, okay, last year we were the most conceded against team in the league. We can't let that happen again. Let's work together and figure out how do we get better. How do we keep the ball out of their net, and how do we not make Annika Toth bail us out every single game? And I'm looking forward to seeing what these three can do, Addison included. But yeah, it's a good signing. I'm interested in seeing if she can improve as well. And if you look at the back three that they have right now, if each one of them just brings another 25-30% improvement year over year, that's gonna be a much improved back line, right? And they're gonna add some players, I'm sure, back there too, some more veteran experience, I'm sure, as well. And so it's a good start back there, but I think there needs to be more. But excited to see what it looks like. That's the list that I have. I know I missed some players, and maybe it just wasn't enough minutes. But yeah, that's the roster so far, and as you can see, who they brought back. One interesting signing that they made was Stella Downing. I think that's huge. I'm really excited for that, to be honest. I think that's a sneaky pickup because immediately she makes your winger position better. I would say on the team now, she is the best winger for me. You see what her body of work was in Ottawa. For her, I think she's thinking, okay, I'd like some more playing time. There's a lot of times where she came off the bench or, coming back from injury, she wasn't getting as much playing time. But when she got onto the pitch, she made a difference. She would run at her defenders. She would get in good positions for scoring chances. So I think that she's going to add a lot of depth in that position, and she, at the beginning she should be a starter right now. If you look at the stats, she played 1,242 minutes, which comparably that would put her around 11th place on the Tides team. So comparatively, not a lot of minutes, but if you look at her body work, she had 3 goals, 2 assists. That's already putting her third on the team in goals with, a quarter of the minutes compared to the other players who were there. So I think the nice thing about her is she does finish when she gets into scoring chances, and she also can create chances for other players. So you look at, I mentioned earlier, like a Megumi Nakamura, someone who, Stella can run at a defender, whip it in when she's making her late run, and all of a sudden you have a lot more goals there. We talked about Tiffany Cameron. If she's going to play the out-and-out striker position, now you have someone who can get the ball to you, maybe just outside the box, maybe inside the box. Now you can kind of figure out what playing style you want. Do you want it to feed? Do you want a kind of a 1-2 back to her? How does it look? I'm really excited for this signing, and I'm excited for 2 reasons. One is immediately makes Halifax better. 2 is it's a statement to the fans, right? Halifax had a lot of attendance, around the league, percentage-wise. A lot of merchandise sales. So the fans are interested. They want to go. They want to see a quality team, which I think any sports organization wants to do. So this is the first step of doing that, and I think it's great. I really do. That being said, I'm going to end the podcast here. But before I end, I just want to say that the purpose of this podcast isn't to put people down or make them regret playing football or ruin their careers or anything like that. That's not what this is all about. The point of this is just to talk about the Tides, and hopefully next year we have a lot of positive to talk about as they improve their team and hopefully make the playoffs, and who knows, maybe make a final. But yeah, very excited to continue this journey, and hope everyone there listening made it this far, and look forward to the next episode. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening. You can follow me at officialtideswatch@gmail.com. Also, Official Tides Watch on Instagram. Thank you.